In this video, we will demonstrate how to create mind maps in NVivo Mac and how to change mind map into a node to create a structure or outline of your work for strategic coding. So in the sample project, go to the top ribbon and click on Explore and then select mind map. A new page would open, which would called MindMap Properties. It is untitled, so let's give it a name. For example, Student Map, and click on Done. Now we can rename the concept which appeared in the detailed view. So it is by default in green color, and it's the core idea. So let's call it a student. So we can then give it a child idea either by right click and selecting insert child idea. For example, academic life. And we can also give it a child idea by selecting the core idea student and giving it a child idea from here, from the top, and let's say social life. And similarly, we can give it a sibling idea by selecting the concept and going back to the top, or through the right click, we can insert sibling idea. For example, let's say academic life, social life, what else could be? Family life, yeah. And similarly, we can have a sibling idea to it, in which we can say economic life, for example, work patterns or things. And also we can have floating ideas, which would say any other important, anything else, for example. Now, once we have these basic kind of themes, we can to develop hierarchy in these. We can say, for example, grandchildren of the word student, which could be for academic life, there would be some child nodes. And then similarly for family life, there would be some child nodes. And here we would have for social life some child nodes. And for economic life, we can have some child nodes. So for example, in academic life, we can have like exams, and then for the exams, we can have oral. Uh, so oral or and written exam. So I would give it a sibling idea of written exam. Sometimes if the concept is not kind of opening or something, you just right click on the concept and then you can edit the label and add, like for example, any word like a or something to it. So now once we have this ready, we can see a bit of hierarchy in it. We can change the layout of it from here as well and play more in this case. So let's locate it or create nodes. So if I click on this and I can see here we have create as nodes. So it will give me the option that whether I would like to create my concept map or locate my concept map under nodes or under cases, and even further under which file, under people or under places, where do I want to situate it. So in my case, I would like to situate it under nodes. So I would just select nodes and click select. So if I go to the navigation view and then under cases, if I go to the, sorry, under codes, if I go to the nodes, I can look for student, and here is the student, and I can see academic life, economic life, family life, social life. All these are here. I can further even see the exam hierarchy and then oral and written, and it can go on. We can also see that if we have not given any concept a name, it would come as idea. And if I would have given it another idea here, it would come as idea 1, and idea 2, and idea 3, and it would show exactly the same hierarchy the way we have created or we would like to create. Now, if I want to code something according to my project student, I would go to files, and if I want to, for example, code this article, which is about analyzing something, a case study, I would open the file and also open the nodes. I would go to my node student, and here if I like something, I think there is something which is very much related to the coding exam, I will hold on it and drag it to the word exam. So I can now see that this reference is added to the new node. Now, if I want to create a colorful mind map to visually represent my findings, I can go back to my map, which currently would be under the navigation menu, under open items, student map, which is open. So if I go there, select student map, like the core of it, and I might like to give it a different color. So I would go to this and select the fill color and would like to give it, for example, the color of the university, for example, purple or magenta color. And then I might like to give this level 1 another color, which could be like, for example, academic life is 1, and then social life is, for example, a different color, and then I have like, family life as blue, and economic life could be whatever I want, let's say brown. Now, if I want to change the color of the font, I just have to simply go to this place, select this one, and then go back. And for example, I want the color to be yellow here. So I would select it here and then select from the colors here. Now, all these could be changed. For example, this one is all, sorry, this was a mistake. So I need to fill this one, fill color. So all these could be shown as one color, and this could be a different color. And I have freedom. I can do whatever I want. So, and I can change these colors as I want. It's total freedom. We can change the font type. So for example, we have all these options. We can also change the size of the text to a different size. Now, if I write it here, it will, the size of the text would be different. We can also change this into bold. Now it's bold, and we can change it into italic or italicize it, and that would change into italics. And I can also change it into underline, and now it would be, yeah, I can see it's now underlined. Similarly, I can change the text as well, where how I want to. I can give it a small a thin border, or a thick one, or a really thick one. So, and that might be of something. If I want to align and distribute, I would need to select a few of these by selecting on command and click. So while holding command button, I would click on the boxes which I want to align or match each other. So for example, I clicked on all of these, but left this one out, and this one, and then select here. I can create the width of them together at one size, or I can create the height of them as one size, or I can create both of these heights and width on the same size. Similarly, I can change the layout to different styles. So once I'm happy with my map, I can right click, and for example, let's say right click and copy it from here, and then I can paste it in Microsoft Word document or Excel. So it would act as an image in these files. That is the end of our video for creating mind maps in NVivo Mac.